demasiado largo. Es una coreografía de gimnasia.
The Canada Cup tournament began on Canada Day, July the 1st. There were 12 teams involved in this women's international event. Now, only 6 remain in the hunt for the Canada Cup crown in 2024. Good afternoon, everyone, and another lovely day for international softball. Our first of 4 playoff games today matches Mexico and Israel. Mexico losing last night in a 1-2 playoff game at the hands of unbeaten Triple Crown Colorado, while Israel, who finished 3-2 in round-robin play, downed the Saskatchewan 222s, the true surprise story in many ways of the round-robin, to advance. And here is the schedule that we are looking at. This contest, and then the winner of Australia and the Philippines will meet in the final game tonight. The big game, in so many ways, matches the two teams with perfect 6-0 records, Canada and Triple Crown Colorado. The team, and it's not exactly the same team, but another powerful NCAA college all-star team that David King has put together, will meet at 6 in the winner's bracket final for an opportunity to play in the title game. You had a quick look at Mexico's hitting lineup. Here is the defensive alignment for Israel with a starting pitcher, Patience Holman, who they added very, very late. Kat Montoya's had a great tournament behind home plate, and she will work there again. There are only 10 players total on this Israel roster, and we are set to begin. These two teams met during the course of the round robin, and Mexico won that game by a count of 9-3. So they will be favored in this one, and Israel actually is the home team, even though they finished below Mexico during the round robin standings. So Holman gets sets to throw. Delighted to have you with us, no matter where you might be looking on, as Holman delivers a strike to the leadoff batter. She has been all week. Madeline Bejarano from Cottonwood, Arizona. Played this past college season at Brigham Young University. And Bejarano, who accepts a changeup for strike 2, is 7 for 17 in the Canada Cup with 2 doubles, 7 runs batted in, and she has scored 5 runs as well. Did not connect for a hit last night against Triple Crown, Colorado, in the 5-2 setback, and fouled that past the diving Kennedy Buckman. Bejarano has 2 multi-hit games, one against Hong Kong, China, and the other came against the Philippines. And the Philippines up next, and they will be in very tough against Australia. In the bottom half of the bracket, and Holman with another change, but this one misses out of the strike zone. Patience is from Mexico, Missouri. And so far in this tournament, Patience Holman has pitched 13 2/3 innings, given up 11 runs on 15 hits. She struck out 7 and walked 4. And in a very important start, and Kennedy Buckman down quickly enough to retire the leadoff batter in Bejarano. The tall first baseman had to react in a hurry as Bejarano got around on it, made the play, stepped on the bag, and there is one away. Israel has been a very, what I would call, scrappy team. Pretty good hitting. The pitching has been okay. Mostly has fallen on the shoulders of not only this young woman who pitched at Southeast Missouri State this year, where she went 16-10, but also Robin Wampler, who was terrific in the 4-1 playoff win yesterday against the Saskatchewan 222s. Berenger can run. Arizona Ritchie not in time. Blaze Berenger, anytime the left-handed batter Berenger hits the ball to the left side of the diamond, she has an opportunity to be safe. And Blaze was on that occasion. And Mexico has their first hit of the contest. Berenger now 6 for 19. She's from Nogales, Arizona, in the University of Arizona. And 23-year-old Jillian Solis, who swung and missed on the changeup last night, really looked like she started to get into a groove. She hit 600 in this tournament last year for Mexico. 2 for 3 last night with a double against Triple Crown, Colorado. But she's well out in front a couple of times. Back-to-back changeups, which Patience Holman has almost used exclusively to the first 3 batters. And misses outside with a bit of a variant one. So Israel looking to pull off the upset with this 10-player team that they've constructed. The rise ball misses up to Solis. And it can be quite an adjustment when you go from one night. And Mexico played the last game of the day on Friday to face the Triple Crown pitching staff, who all throw either in the low 70s or high 60s to this. Solis on the ground, and the play made by Mandy Schwartz, but Behringer able to race her way into scoring position. Brings to the plate the designated player, number 19, Alyssa Garcia from Chula Vista, California. Played at San Diego State this past season. She's batting .500 in the Canada Cup. She's 6 for 12. And Holman with a steady diet of change and rise to this point in her arsenal. I'd never heard of Mexico, Missouri before the research this week. And that changeup on our gun is at 47 miles an hour. It must seem, after Mexico hitters faced 74 and 73 from Carlin Pickens last night, that it will never get to home plate. This one, a little more on it. And Garcia takes inside for a strike. Alyssa, one multi-hit game, and it came against Israel. She was 2 for 2 with a home run and a run batted in the 9-3 win earlier this week. And Patience Holman, as a result of the changeup, and a good one, is making life a little bit difficult here early. Into the hole. Schwartz knocked it down. She's not able to make the play. Behringer, a wide turn, but able to scramble back. Waiting for the official score, and I was guessing it was an error, and it will be charged an error to Mandy Schwartz over at second, as Mexico looks to take the lead here in the top of the inning. Lina Rebaedo, the left fielder. She's from Riverside, California, and drills this foul. She was 5 for 19 in last year's Canada Cup. She's 5 for 13 in the 2024 edition. And she looks to me like she's made some strides since 1 year ago. Looks a lot more confident at home plate, has hit balls harder. The inside part, and missed to Lina Rebaedo, who was 1 for 3 with a double and a run batted in versus Israel in their first meeting of this Canada Cup. One multi-hit game. It came against the Philippines. Hard hit. Arizona Richie got a nice hop. And Patience Holman out of trouble in the top of the first. Israel comes to bat in this single elimination playoff game on playoff Saturday at the Canada Cup.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn more and support our mission.
Lindsay Lopez gets the ball this afternoon for Team Mexico. She's from Santan Valley, Arizona. And her battery mate, once again, is Alejandra Casas. Israel's lineup, almost status quo, with Ruby Salzman, who has 8 hits in the tournament, in the leadoff spot, the center fielder. Kat Montoya has really driven in some key runs, including a 2-run homer in their playoff win yesterday. Ray Baedo, Bejarano, Miano in the outfield. It's Berenger, Solis. Over at second, Watley and Alicia Campbell at first base. The standard lineup for Mexico so far in the tournament is Kennedy, or make that Ruby Salzman, steps in, 8 for 21. And she is hit by Lindsay Lopez with her first pitch. Lopez was excellent last night in her 2 innings of relief against Triple Crown Colorado. She did not give up a run, only 2 hits, and struck out 5 against that vaunted lineup. And here's shortstop Arizona Ritchie. The 22-year-old, a bunt handled by Lopez and over to the covering Watley, as the sacrifice executed well by Arizona Ritchie, who's from Stafford, Virginia. Started her college softball career at Virginia and then transferred to George Washington, where her father, Greg, is a member of that school's Hall of Fame in the sport of baseball. He's also their head baseball coach. So Arizona Ritchie, around ball her whole entire existence, which I find really helps. Kat Montoya, been a good story, the catcher. 7 for 15, 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. She had 3 home runs in 1 game. And the Lopez changeup is a dandy. A ball and a strike with 1 out to Kat Montoya. Underneath it, tough sun at this time of day, but Savannah Watley is able to shield her eyes and make the play on the pop-out of Montoya. Kennedy Buckman is back, the first baseman. She's from New Prague, Minnesota. She was here last year, hit 3 for 20. This year, she's 6 for 20 with a couple of doubles and 4 runs batted in. Did not have a hit in the game earlier this week against Mexico. She'd love one here. It would score potentially the game's first run, and Lopez missing inside with her changeup. And it's very good when she locates it, which is such a key component of that pitch, where she would like it. Comes right back with it again. And fouled into her feet by Kennedy Buckman, who played collegiately at Augustana University in the state of Minnesota. Wrapped up her college career in 2023. 326 during that career with 30 home runs and 112 runs batted in. Her best year was her final year. Had 62 runs batted in. But a swing and a miss on the rise ball from Lindsay Lopez, who has her first strikeout. No score after 1 in a game where you must win to keep your Canada Cup hopes alive. Savannah Watley, who's been a very good contributor for Mexico, to lead off against Patience Holman, who did give up one hit. Mexico stranded a runner in the top of the first, did not score. Watley is from Oakley, California. Played at Oregon State this year, 7 for 16 in this tournament. She's homered 3 times, and she's driven in 10 runs, which is among the tournament leaders. She homered and drove in 3 in the game earlier this week against Israel and fights off the good changeup from Patience Holman, who threw more than 150 innings at Southeast Missouri State, where she posted a 16-10 record this season, and has worked ahead for the most part so far early this afternoon. On the ground, Schwartz, underhand, and there's one away. Alicia Campbell from Vallejo, California, 3 for 14, the hard swinging first baseman. Double and 2 runs batted in. She delivered 2 of her 3 hits in this tournament against today's opponent during the round robin. By my calculations, at Oregon State this year, 235, 5 doubles, 9 home runs, and 25 runs batted in. She had a Mexico hit, one of them in last night's loss against Triple Crown Colorado. Excellent changeup. It's the best pitch belonging to Patience Holman, and she'll throw it at a couple of different speeds, which when you rely on it and throw it a lot, it can't be or look the same. And that one tailed just wide of home plate. Ball and 2 strikes to Campbell. And she is never cheated when she swings the bat. To shallow right, glasses on, and they're needed on a very warm day this Saturday. And the play made by Amanda Licht, and Holman off to a fine beginning in this game. And that was going to be the key. Could Israel's pitching staff keep Mexico down? A long way to go. But if you're Israel and their head coach Sarah Woofter, you like it. Bunt. Maddie Lewis. Barehanded and zipped it to first. A 1-2-3 defensive inning for Israel. They'll come to bat in the bottom of the second.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn more and support our mission.
The pitcher to lead things off, Patience Holman. Batting in the number 5 spot today. She's 3 for 10. with 4 runs batted in. So not only can she throw it well, pretty good hitter too. Facing Lindsay Lopez. One thing to note about Lopez, and there's another one. In her 3 appearances here, 77% of her first pitches have been for strikes. Exactly how you want to work if you're in the circle. And her changeup was one that she and her entire team wanted. You always know by the reaction. And usually the catcher takes a peek back at the home plate umpire. The rise gets away a little bit. 2 balls and a strike. First of 4 playoff games. The loser of this one, their hopes to play Sunday and in a Canada Cup final will come to a conclusion. Canada, Triple Crown, Colorado, Australia, the favorites going in, and they are still in the hunt. Canada and Triple Crown, Colorado to meet in a winner's bracket final tonight here, slated for 6 o'clock. And what's on the line in that game? A berth in tomorrow's championship final. Both teams have been impressive. And the pitcher walked to begin the bottom of the second. Not the way Lindsay Lopez wanted to open things. So Holman, the base runner, and right fielder Amanda Licht from Greenwood Village, Colorado, who's 3 for 16 with 2 runs batted in. Amanda's made some excellent plays this week defensively. Couple in particular in the 4-1 playoff victory yesterday afternoon here over the Saskatchewan 222s. And a quality rip at the rise ball from Lindsay Lopez, who had a solid season at the University of Washington, pitching for longtime and storied coach Heather Tarr, who also happens to be the head coach of the United States women's national team. And Lopez has her second strikeout, and there's 1 away. Heather Tarr and Team USA overseas preparing for the upcoming World Cup, where they and Japan will be favored, as they always are, in every World Championship in women's softball for the title. In fact, they're playing a mini 3-game series against one another in preparation. Canada and Australia from this tournament will join them starting July the 15th in that 8-team event, which also will feature Italy, the Netherlands, Puerto Rico, and China. Mexico rebuilding their program after they put together an excellent team and finished 4th, lost the bronze medal game in Tokyo to Canada. Licked to shallow center, and not even Bejarano can get to that. And Israel has its first hit, belonging to Maddie Lewis. I think I said Licht, who struck out right before her. Maddie Lewis did not have a hit at this Canada Cup prior to a really important 6th-inning double and run batted in against Saskatchewan yesterday. And she picks up right where she left off here this afternoon, where Robin Wampler, the designated player, and also their number 1 pitcher in a lot of different ways, steps into the batter's box. 1 out, 2 on in the bottom of the second. Watley, and because Maddie Lewis was frozen, on the loopy liner that turned into a ground ball. She was frozen, and that allowed the force out 4-6 at second. So pretty well played by Savannah Watley. Gets to the ball, pivots, really intelligent. Might have been easier just to come to first. So there's some quality softball IQ by Savannah Watley. And you always want to get an out, too, in that situation. Very aware as she spun around, knew exactly where the runner was, and allowed her to make a fine play. So the umpire breaks up the visit, and it's Mandy Schwartz. 2 out now, runners at the corner. Can't imagine Israel will put a running play on as Schwartz hit it pretty well, but launched it foul. She's 3 for 14 in the tournament. 2 doubles. Those doubles came in games against Hong Kong, China, and New Zealand. Israel, in many ways, in this tournament, has knocked off the teams that you would expect they would. Maybe the Saskatchewan 222s, just at how well that team played here this week. Might have been a bit of an exception, but they won that game too. Their only losses to Mexico and Canada. And how they'd love to be a surpriser today. Popped up by Schwartz. And Lindsay Lopez out of a mini jam to end the second. It remains 0-0 on this playoff Saturday in Softball City. Janelle Miono, fine outfielder from the University of California at Los Angeles, known by most as UCLA. One of the great, maybe the greatest women's softball program in the NCAA. And Miono has come to Softball City and acquitted herself very nicely. 7 for 15, 4 runs batted in. Had one of those runs batted in last night in the 5-2 loss to Triple Crown, Colorado. Hits the changeup. Schwartz. Miono runs so well. Patience Holman, so far, so good. The late addition to this team, and a critical one. Bejarano grounded out to first, launches this one, and Amanda Lick got a late break. I don't think she saw it. Big stop by Bejarano, who has a double. And Mexico with another runner in scoring position. By the reaction, I don't think Amanda Lick found it off the bat. looked frozen, and by the time she located it in that sun, there was no chance to backpedal and make the play. So Madeline Bejarano with a double to the right field fence, and see if Mexico can cash in to break the deadlock. Berenger right back to Holman, doesn't look at third, goes directly to first for the out. You don't have a lot of time to make that decision or hesitation with the way Berenger runs. And Jillian Solis, who grounded out to Mandy Schwartz at second, hoping to get hot. Looked like she was headed in that direction last night. Swung it as well in that game as she has all week long after being one of the top hitters here in 2023. The 23-year-old from Corona, California, who played at Washington this year as well after transferring. And the play made, and a good one by Kennedy Buckman, who used every inch and millimeter of her frame to get it. Mexico doubled. Solis just that close to giving them the lead. Top of the order for Israel as they set to bat in the bottom of the third, and this 0-0 tie. Winner moves on. The loser is eliminated. Salzman has become a veteran of this Israel national team, played in the 2022 European Championship. She was here at the Canada Cup last year and again in 2024. She was hit by Lindsay Lopez. It was Lopez's first pitch of the game. And a swing and a cut that fouls it straight back. So she's been very consistent here as Ruby Salzman, who's from Northridge, California. Played collegiately at West Texas A&M. 8 for 21. She was 9 for 30 last year when Israel posted a 4-5 tournament record. They're 4-2 in the 6 games that they've played this year. And Lopez comes in on the hands. And again, it's fouled off by Salzman. When these two teams met, Ruby had 2 hits. She goes down swinging on arguably the best changeup that Lopez has thrown this afternoon. And Lindsay has strikeout number 3 of the game. Arizona Ritchie, the shortstop. 6 for 19. She laid down a sacrifice bunt, her only time at home plate. 7 for 23 at last year's Canada Cup. With 3 runs batted in, she has a couple in this year's event. Fakes the bunt, but pulls her bat back. Wrapped up her college career in 2023. at George Washington, where she batted .306. Stays with the changeup. Bejarano has the speed to track it and got a bit of a late start. The Israel catcher, Kat Montoya. And yet another first pitch strike. It's been the case all week for Lindsay Lopez. Misses outside. Montoya had 3 homers in one game and 6 runs batted in versus Hong Kong, China. That's a career, let alone a day for some. Trying to deliver Israel's second hit. And she had a good swing on that one. First of 4 playoff games. We'll be down to 3 teams tomorrow afternoon. There'll be a semifinal, if you will, and then the championship game. Those games are slated for 1 and 6. Montoya did everything she could to hold off and stay away from swinging at that fine changeup. Montoya played at the University of California, Riverside collegiately. And that tied her in a knot. Maybe 3 of them. Changeups really don't get much better. 3 up, 3 down. Goes Israel to the 4th in a pitcher's duel on Saturday at the Canada Cup. So we've got a fine encounter brewing in this first of 4 playoff games. 3 of the 4 games are win and move on. Only the Canada Triple Crown Colorado game could you lose and still come back and win the Canada Cup title. Those teams have yet to lose, period. They're both a perfect 6-0 after round-robin play and important playoff wins last night. And the game between Canada and Australia was just a terrific display of this sport between two high-level teams. It went 2 extra innings before Canada won it by a score of 4-3. Alyssa Garcia reached on an error to second baseman Mandy Schwartz her first time up this afternoon. As Patience Holman of Israel and Lindsay Lopez locked in a pitcher's duel. There's only been 3 hits in the game, 2 by Mexico, 1 for Israel. Quite different than the round robin meeting when Mexico won the game 9-3. And both pitchers share something else. Their best pitch is a changeup. And they've both had it working very well this afternoon. And Garcia just missed it. You always know when it goes virtually directly straight back, you know a batter has come very close to barreling it up. Alyssa hit .312 this year at San Diego State University. Homered twice. Not an easy play for Arizona Richie, but she makes it. Oh, she went a long way. Did the Israel shortstop to get to that? As it didn't look like Maren Berger in left would get there. Maybe she might have upon further review. But Richie wanted it all the way and takes care of business for the first out in inning number 4. Lena Reboledo will force Berger to try and track it, and she runs out of real estate. Well, the laptops are out everywhere. Coaches, players, there's always some video in this day and age to be watched. Rebaedo grounded out to Arizona Richie in the second. High and deep, foul, and Berger can't get there. That's a really difficult play for a left fielder. You don't quite have time to do what you'd love to do. Get to the fence first. That's what you're taught, and then try to set yourself up. That's really easy from here. But Marin, no time to even get there. Change up away from Patience Holman. He's given up the 2 hits so far in the game. Does not yet have a strikeout. A pitch to contact type hitter with the changeup being her number 1 weapon. There it is, and Rebaedo again, she's hit 3 of them almost in the same place. Now does Kat Montuya, who, by the way, was the starting shortstop at the University of California, Riverside. See what these two combine to do, pitcher and catcher. Not even Richie can track that. That's a quality at-bat for Lena Rebaedo. And a one-out base hit for number 99, who is from Riverside, California herself, but played at Utah Valley. The third Mexico hit. And now, another team meeting. Rebaedo can run. Mexico might feature the most speed of any team here. Think about Bejarano, Miono, Berenger as quick as anyone. Rebaedo can run. Got a lot of speed. Savannah Watley's no slouch in that neighborhood either. And she's especially dangerous with a bat in her hand. Big addition this week. One of a number of newcomers who were not here playing for Mexico last year. And Mexico fell off to the point where they were not even involved as one of the 18 teams last summer to compete in one of 3 World Cup qualifiers. And they want their way back. Bunt and a beauty. Talk about speed. The throw past Buckman. The wave is given to Rebaedo, and she is going to open the scoring. Right after you mention the speed of Mexico, it's on display. It forces this error. As Watley, who's been known more for her power than ability to bunt, Montoya, throw was to the inside. And Buckman at first really had no chance. And Rebaedo comes all the way around. And on the air, Watley ends up at third herself. So Mexico breaks the deadlock in this must-win playoff game. And the error charged to catcher Kat Montoya. And there goes Campbell, swinging like she means it. It's been the case on every swing this week. The little things, and they have mattered, and they always matter so much, but in close games in sports, so often it's the little mistakes that make the difference between winning and losing. That was so apparent in a number of games this week. I think back to Czechia and Australia, the Philippines and Czechia. Always a key play, an error, a misread. Pretty good time, however, as we talk about miscues for a strikeout of Alicia Campbell by Patience Holman. Alejandra Casas, the catcher from Paris, California, who played at St. Mary's University for the Gales. Now, with Watley at third, as a batter, you would love to potentially hit the ball either in the air to the outfield or try to go the other way and hit it to the right side of the diamond. It would give Watley a chance to score. The infield in the middle of the diamond, not exactly in, but there's 2 out. So no need to be. They're at regular depth. As Campbell made out number 2, not out number 1. So here's a really critical time in the game. If you're Israel, after that 3-base error and the run scored, if you can limit the damage here to 1, it would be key. And Israel wanted that pitch in the worst way. Patience Holman has given them a quality start against a good Mexico team. Lifted high in the air. Ritchie goes back. But coming in to make the call and the play was Ruby Salzman. An error allows Mexico to strike first. Israel to bat, trailing by 1. Playoff Saturday at the Canada Cup. Lindsay Lopez gives way to Citlali Gutierrez, who had a marvelous freshman season at the University of Texas, where she helped Texas to the championship final of the College Women's World Series. She pitched last night in the game against Triple Crown Colorado. She was the starter and comes in to work inning number 4 this afternoon. She's from Stamford, Texas. 1-1 so far in this Canada Cup tournament. Pitched 9 2/3, given up 5 runs, 6 hits, struck out 13, and walked 2. She worked 3 innings last night against Triple Crown Colorado, yielded 5 runs on 5 hits, struck out 3, and walked 2. Citlali Gutierrez could become the number 1 pitcher for Mexico on the international scene moving forward. She was 11-2 at Texas this year and hits Kennedy Buckman. So she came out, her first warm-up pitch wasn't great. And then this pitch certainly isn't how she wanted to start, as she tries to find a comfortable plant for her foot that she's working out. And misses outside. Gutierrez and Tegan Cavan, who pitches for Triple Crown Colorado, really the go-to, especially Cavan, as far as Texas's pitching staff. And Gutierrez is having a lot of trouble. She's just hit 2 batters back-to-back. And this time, the owie belongs to pitcher Patience Holman, and that is something Israel can't really afford to have her in difficulty as she tries to shake it off past first base. So the pitching change not yielding benefits so far. Amanda Licht gets some instructions from head coach Sarah Woofter. Mexico, on a throwing error, scores the game's first run in the top of the inning, and now a tailor-made situation against Citlali Gutierrez to tie the game with Amanda Licht. Struck out versus Lindsay Lopez in inning number 2. So Buckman and Holman are the base runners. And Licht fails to get the sacrifice bunt down. And see if the head coach goes in that direction moving forward in this at-bat. Again, the little things. Your ability to be able to execute. Israel has made 2 errors so far in the game. It's only been 4 total hits. Mexico has 3 of them, Israel just 1. Gutierrez trying to find her way in relief. And it looks like Yanina Trevino is starting to work already and is in the pen. Licht drills it. Miono runs it down. Janelle Miono with a terrific play in right field. She can run, but more importantly, she gets a great break off the bat. Has Licht hit it well. The lead runner, Buckman, able to go from second to third. Important play by Miono. Seen a lot of really good plays in the outfield. Home run savers, that was excellent. Maddie Lewis after going 0 for in the tournament prior to her last at-bat yesterday. Now she has 2 hits. Yesterday's was a huge 6th-inning double that scored a run. Trying to tie the game in this spot is the third baseman, Maddie Lewis. From Alameda, California. Played college ball at UC San Diego. And Gutierrez wanted that one, and she finds herself behind again. Hit the first 2 batters, then able to get the hard hit fly out to right. The bunt, just a fake attempt. She was taking that 3-0 pitch all the way, no doubt about it. Key spot in the game. And Lewis takes strike 2 as Gutierrez fights back. Count is full. The winner of this game will take on the winner of our next contest, Australia and the Philippines, this evening in the nightcap at 8:30. Lewis, in comes Ray Baedo, and it's nowhere near deep enough to cash in Kennedy Buckman from third. So credit Gutierrez, battles back from 3-0 down and has Maddie Lewis pop up to left. And now it's Robin Wampler, who's certainly more known on this Israel team for what she does in the circle. But with a very small roster, just 10 players. They suffered an injury earlier. Came here, my understanding is, with 11. Down to 10. And Wampler with a key at-bat, looking to even the game. And Gutierrez with ball 1. Wampler in this tournament, 6 at-bats. She has 1 hit. And fouls this away. And the 1 hit came yesterday in the 4-1 victory, of which she threw 6 excellent innings against the Saskatchewan 222s. Does not have a run batted in here. What a time this would be for her first. A good at-bat so far for the product of Berkeley, California, who also played college ball at UC San Diego. At last check, for her profession, works for the Kansas City Royals in research development. Into the hole, Solis. Inning over. A rough start for pitcher Gutierrez, but she bears down and gets out of the jam that she really did create. It remains 1-0 Mexico. Mexico scored on a throwing error. Israel has threatened a couple of times, especially in the fourth, unable to put one across home plate. These teams in a elimination playoff game. We're down to 6 teams left who would love to 2024 Canada Cup, this long-term elite event. And so well run, fabulous facility. And so excited to be able and privileged enough to pencil this one the last few years into my calendar. I love it. Kennedy Buckman doesn't love that. Underneath the glove. And Janelle Miono, who tracked the ball down in right field brilliantly in the last half inning. Looks like she will be credited with a hit. And plenty of speed in Miono, who puts what I like to call the pizza oven on. It's the run protector in your lead hand. Change up, misses out from Patience Holman, who's gone the whole way. Mexico in search of some insurance. Won the round-robin meeting this week between these two teams, 9-3. It's been a stiffer test today. Bejarano lays down the sacrifice bunt. And now Miono in scoring position. Blaze Behringer has a hit today, and she grounded back to the pitcher. Mexico certainly favored, but Israel, I call them scrappy, and that's exactly what they've been again. Even in the 10-3 loss to Canada, hit the ball well, forced Canada into some very uncharacteristic errors and plays in that game. Holman evens the count at 1 ball and a strike. Blaze Behringer does have 2 runs batted in, the product of the University of Arizona, where she hit .267 this season. Arizona Richie calls off Mandy Schwartz. And there are 2 away. Jillian Solis failed to deliver by about 2 inches the first run. She was robbed at first by Kennedy Buckman on a line shot. The 23-year-old who at the University of Washington this season, .313, 7 home runs, 37 runs batted in. Played in the last 2 consecutive Canada Cups. Hit .600 last year, .316 in 2022. And ahead of the change, which has given her some difficulty and several of her Mexico teammates. Israel trying to hang around. That's what you do when you're the underdog. They check down at third, and no swing is the call. Philippines, who will be a big underdog against Australia in our next game. Solis drills it. An RBI double for Corona, California's Jillian Solis. That time, she sat on the changeup. It was up a little bit, and she clobbered it. And an important second run for Mexico. And beware to everyone in the tournament, Jillian Solis, who started by her standards slowly at this 2024 Canada Cup, she's finding her stroke. She's a fine hitter. And now it's Garcia. Mexico, one in the fourth, one more so far here in the fifth. Trying to advance to the tournament's final four. That's what a win here today would guarantee you nothing worse than a fourth place finish. Mexico was just 3-6 in this tournament in 2023. They've really upgraded their lineup. Positionally, speed, hitting ability, and the addition of Gutierrez when she is at the top of her game gives them a legitimate chance, along with Lindsay Lopez, to compete with anyone here. Two balls and two strikes to Alyssa Garcia. Reached on an air and popped up to shortstop Arizona Ritchie. Eats up Kennedy Buckman. Here comes Jillian Solis. 3-0 Mexico as they've found some insurance. Usually it's the hot corner at third. In this game, it's been first base for the hot spot, and Buckman's going to be charged with an error. And Mexico, in their third time through the batting order against Patience Holman, are finding their way. But what would this game look like without 3 Israel errors? Could very likely still be 0-0. It's been the difference. Lina Rebaedo singled and scored in the last inning and takes a changeup up and out of the zone. Lina now 6 for 15 in this Canada Cup. She has pulled a lot of balls, not only today, but in other games in the tournament, to left field. See if the ball ends up in Marin Berger's direction again. Quality changeup with movement away from the right-handed batting Rebaedo. 2 runs in. Mexico hoping for more. Israel needs to put the brakes defensively on what's occurring in the game. It's going to be very difficult to come back even at this point. But we've seen stranger things this week. Rebaedo not to left, but to right. Licked. In the sun. Makes the catch. Not before Mexico adds 2 more runs and now lead it 3-0. Beautiful shot. This one probably my favorite that Luciano Carol Dureste provide us. That's a beauty. I'd put that up on my wall at home. One of my favorite places, Softball City. Gorgeous. Mandy Schwartz. Israel's fate now more difficult. Trail by 3 is Mexico with 1 in the 4th and 2 more in the 5th. Not an easy play for Berenger. Made it. She has really good hands and a good arm. That gets across the diamond in a hurry. A slow roller. Takes it off the side and throws a rope to Alicia Campbell at first. And Ruby Salzman hit by a pitch and struck out so far on the afternoon. This is where Israel needs to get going with the likes of Salzman, Ritchie, and Montoya at the top of the order. They're the underdog, and Mexico starting to exercise their ability. Squibber, Gutierrez, and there's 2 away. Sidlali Gutierrez out of the University of Texas came into the game in the last inning and struggled early. She hit the first 2 batters, but now looks like Gutierrez is settling into a groove. The youngster. And the movement on that pitch really good. Away from the shortstop, Arizona Ritchie. Arizona laid down a sacrifice bunt and popped up to Jillian Solis, her opposing shortstop. Berenger, the arm again. It's very good. 3 up, 3 down for Israel. They trail by 3. Oh. Well, you have a challenge in the game, and when you're down 3-0, why not use it? So they're going to use it. It was a bang-bang play versus Arizona Ritchie, who's standing at first. The call was out, and now on video replay, we'll have the umpiring group, the review team, gather as this call is indeed under review. The issue in play is a ground ball to third. Was she safe? That is what's in question. Was she safe? You might have heard it in the background as the review's going on right in behind me. And you heard the home plate umpire talk about it being exactly what it was, a bang, bang play. And Luciano, I'm not sure if you can or can't show it to us as the game goes on. So not only is our production crew at Softball Premier TV involved in showing you all the great pictures, they're also involved in the replays, which from a streaming standpoint makes it a little difficult. Hopefully we'll show you the play again if we can on the air at some point. But right now the gentleman You know what? I'm going to take a break. We'll tell you about the review when I come back. The call has been overturned. As Arizona Richie is called safe on what will be scored an infield single. So an important call in the game for Israel, trailing 3-0. And it gives this young woman, Kat Montoya, a chance. She's homered 4 times already in this Canada Cup, including a crucial 2-run first inning home run that led Israel to their 4-1 victory over the Saskatchewan 222s. Gutierrez, her pitch gets away from Cassis. Then you have to start with one. Israel did have a chance in the last inning. They've only had 2 hits in the game. The difference really in this contest is 3 defensive mistakes Israel has made. And Solis towards third. Gloves the line drive off the bat of Kat Montoya. So after a lengthy review, a good call but not the result in the end that Israel was looking for. 3-0 Mexico after 5. A 3-0 Mexico lead. Savannah Watley is the batter. And the last time she came to home plate, she laid down a great bunt. She pops up. And this is going to find a spot in no woman's land. And Watley did not hesitate. She turned that into a double. And I was just trying to tell the story. The last time she was up, she laid down a beautiful bunt with a runner on base, and catcher Kat Montuya ended up throwing it down the right field line. The runner scored all the way from first, and that's how Mexico opened the scoring. So an extra base hit, not exactly what you think of in terms of most extra base hits. Another heads-up play by Savannah Watley. Saw her make a really good decision on a force play defensively earlier in the game, and now did not hesitate as that ball went into a perfect spot for her and Team Mexico. And Alicia Campbell looks to add to the lead, and she gave notice that a bunt is possible for the Mexico first baseman. No balls and one strike. And Campbell unable to deliver with a sacrifice attempt. Patience Holman has worked the whole way for Israel. She's given up 6 hits, 3 runs. I'm not sure she has an earned run given up in the game because of the 3 errors. Change-up. And it's been a steady diet of those for the Mexico hitters here this afternoon. Must-win game to keep your Canada Cup hopes alive. Australia and the Philippines on deck next here in a game that is supposed to start at 3:30. Might be pushed back a little as this game, after a very quick beginning, is slowed down. High in the air, and Mandy Schwartz shades the sun and makes the catch. Alejandra Casas, the batter. She's popped out to center field and grounded out to third. Mexico with a run in the fourth, two more in the fifth. Hit well over the head of Marenberger to the fence. Alejandra Casas. A one-out double and a run batted in, and that could be the blow that puts this game away. Hit it well. Over the head of the left fielder. Did well to get it back in quickly. But a very important run batted in for the Mexico catcher. Alejandra Casas delivers. Her second run batted in. Her other came in a win earlier this week over the Philippines in a game that she had two hits. Bunt by Miono. Mandy Schwartz. Not an easy play. And are they going to challenge this? They're thinking about it. Look like an out to me. And they're going to challenge indeed. Mexico has scored on the double to the left field fence, courtesy of Alejandra Casas. I think this call's going to stand myself. Bang, bang again, as was the last call. That one was overturned. I think this one has a chance to stay. She had to stretch. The question is the toe on the bag? I don't think it ever comes off. Well, the first base coach certainly with the best look in the house. And she wanted the challenge right away. Great work, Luciano. Call on the field is an out. And while the review is going on, Israel head coach Sarah Woofter will make a pitching change and bring in Robin Wampler, who was so good in 6 innings of work yesterday in the 4-1 playoff triumph over the Saskatchewan 222s. If the toe was on the bag, and on my monitor, somewhat difficult to tell, you might even have a better idea at home. So Wampler's going to come into the game. Or at least warming up to come into the game. The question is there 1 out or 2 out? The two coaches actually appear to be having a conversation. I believe there's still contact with the bag. I'm not sure my eyes are good enough to tell. And remember, the call on the play is an out. So it has to be conclusive to make the change. As our home plate umpire awaits the call. And that is Chrissy Travers from Australia. Mitchell Zook at first, Chris Hartley at second, and Laura McMillan working at third. Well, you want to get it right, but at a certain point, do you really have the evidence after a number of looks to say that it's definitive? And I feel this way about all kinds of different reviews in sports. And this, with absolutely no disrespect meant to anyone, is not the type of production where you have 8, 9, and 10 cameras like you might see at home on television in big games. What is done with the amount of people here and the technology is pretty incredible. But it's not an 8 or even 3 camera shoot. It's an out. As I expected, there did not look to be enough there on all the glances to overturn it. So Miono is out 5-4, and credit Schwartz for making the catch, stretching. And now here's Madeline Bejarano to deal with Robin Wampler for the first time. Bejarano, a double her last time up. Laid down a sacrifice bunt as well today and grounded out to Kennedy Buckman at first. Alejandra Casas, the runner at third, who cashed in the fourth run earlier in the inning with a double to the left field fence. Berger in left. Retires the side. Mexico, like a small cut. Just a little more every inning. 1 in 4, 2 in the 5th, 1 more in the 6th, and now Israel really in a tough spot in a game they must win to keep their Canada Cup hopes alive. Mexico in command in this must-win game. The winner of this game will advance to tonight's 8:30 encounter to face the winner of heavily favored Australia, who lost a heartbreaker here last night in a battle of teams headed to Italy on Monday to the World Cup. 4, 3, and 9 innings to Team Canada. The Philippines, a stunner yesterday, unlike many innings I've ever seen. Down to Czechia, 3-0, going to the 7th. A seldomly used Victoria Magbanwa after ace pitcher Veronika Pekova was lifted for Adela Lenkova, struggled, gave up the 3-run home run. Pekova came back. She had trouble finding the mark. There was an error in the inning, and the Philippines won the game 4-3. They even had to deal with a bases loaded, no out situation in the bottom of the 7th, and they'll face Australia next as Kennedy Buckman off the roof. Israel has been limited by the combination of Lindsay Lopez and Sidlali Gutierrez to just 2 hits. 3 Israel runs really have significantly contributed to the difference in this game, as it often does at this level of competition. Mexico downed Israel 9-3 during the round robin this week. So give Israel a lot of credit. Shorthanded, only with a 10-player roster. And they've had a fine week as it gets away from Gutierrez this time and eludes Alejandra Casas behind home plate. Casas with a single, or make that a double, that scored the 4th Mexico run in the top of the inning. Israel needs to put some hits together, and it won't start with Kennedy Buckman, as she goes down swinging here in the 6th. And Gutierrez with her first strikeout of the afternoon. Patience Holman, who was just replaced as the pitcher late in the top of the 6th inning. Four nothing Mexico. They posted a 4-1 record, only lost to Canada in the round robin in their very first game going back to Monday evening, then won 4 in a row before losing 5-2 in a 1-2 playoff game versus 6-0 now, Triple Crown Colorado, who have given up just 3 runs all tournament long. And that was indeed Gutierrez's first strikeout. She's pitched 2 1/3 in relief of Lindsay Lopez, who went 3, gave up no runs on 1 hit, struck out 4, and walked 1. And the winner of this game, as I've mentioned, their work for the day is not over. They'll be in a huge tussle tonight in the final game against either Australia or the Philippines. And there won't be a lot of money on the Philippines, although I like how they've played this week. Watley takes care of business. And Patience Holman on the slow trot back to the dugout. She delivered a quality outing, and with a little more help from her friends, might still be working. She worked well. The line on Holman, 5 2/3, 4 runs, 7 hits. 2 of the runs were earned. Struck out 1, did not walk a batter. There's Amanda Licht, who drilled a ball to Janelle Miono in right. This tournament really, in many ways, had different tiers. A tier of 3 teams at the top in Triple Crown, Colorado, Canada, Australia. However, not a big gap for Mexico. But then a drop-off. Licked comfortably, handled by Madeline Bejarano. 3 up, 3 down. And Israel 3 outs away from having their tournament come to an end on this Saturday at Softball City. Can't even do it. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Steen, who's been the third pitcher here in terms of usage, is from Atlanta, Georgia. Just finished her sophomore season at Denison College. Couple of short appearances in the Canada Cup at Ruby Salzman. And it doesn't feel much like Ruby Tuesday or Ruby Saturday if you're Israel. Mexico blows the doors off in the top of inning number 7. Glorious softball city on a wonderful Saturday. This was a pretty good game. 1-0 through 4. Mexico started to chip away and then blew the doors off. 6 runs in the top of the 7th and lead by 10. And for a second consecutive game, Mexico uses 3 pitchers. Lopez, Gutierrez, and some more work for 22-year-old Yanina Trevino, who comes in to seal the deal. Not sure if she's hurt, but have not seen much of Raci Miranda the last few days. Who was really the workhorse for Mexico at last year's tournament. Her and Lindsay Lopez. Trevino was here as well, but didn't throw a whole lot in 2023. And hasn't necessarily here, but on the depth chart going in, would have thought she would have been 4, not necessarily 3. There's third baseman Maddie Lewis, who has provided one of the 2 Israel hits. Fouls the Trevino pitch away. Now for Yanina, she's pitched 5 innings. She's given up 5 runs, 4 hits, struck out 4, walked 3. Came in for 2/3 of an inning late against Triple Crown Colorado. Didn't give up a run or a hit and struck out 2. In the 5-2 loss, Mexico 4-1 in the round robin. Lost the 1-2 playoff game. If you finished in the top 2 in your pool, you had an extra playoff life. and the reason they're still in the hunt for the Canada Cup crown. Canada Triple Crown Colorado in the winner's bracket final tonight, slated for 6, might be later. Next up, it's Australia, who will have an opportunity to get to work and take care of business early against the Philippines, but the Philippines, who went 2-3 in the round robin to finish 4th with a stunner of an upset, and especially the way it happened against Czechia, who in Veronika Pekova featured one of the best pitchers here and one of the hardest throwing pitchers. Pekova with 40 strikeouts. In fact, she ended up with 43 when it was all said and done this week, but Czechia couldn't put the Philippines away, or they would be facing Australia next. And hope Maddie Lewis is okay. She's trying to shake out the arm after being hit by Yanina Trevino in her first batter. And another meeting. Yes, girls do want to have fun. It's not fun getting hit with a pitch. I don't care what gender you are. That's not fun. Maddie Lewis still trying to shake things out. Mexico 10 runs on 13 hits. They have not committed any errors. Israel no runs, 2 hits, and they've committed 3. Sydney Silverstein, the pitcher, as Patience Holman started, gave way to Robin Wampler, and then Silverstein. We'll go with Stein. A rare at-bat for Sydney. And Trevino, who seems to have added a mile an hour or two since watching her at this event last year. As Mexico will play again tonight at 8:30, so they'd love to end this 1.5 inning as quickly as they can, get a little rest, replenished, rehydrated, and get set likely for Australia. But I would have thought Australia's opponent today would have been Czechia, not the Philippines. Ellen Roberts will get the start for Lang Harrow's Aussie Spirit. And Trevino has her 5th strikeout of the Canada Cup as she sits down the opposing pitcher, Sydney Silverstein. Second baseman, Mandy Schwartz. Israel, a very competent effort in this tournament. They were 4-5 here last year, and will finish with a record of 4-3 this time, as they made their way into the final 6, but won't find themselves in the final 4. And nobody would have expected them to do that. This is a good accomplishment for this 10-player team assembled. Mexico 1 out away. Ruby Salzman has been Israel's best hitter. Marlene Espinoza to end the game. Well, it took a while for Mexico to flex their softball muscles, but they did. 6 runs in the 7th. 1 in the fourth, and really, when they added 2 in the fifth, you knew at that point it was going to be very difficult. So Mexico moves on to tonight's game at 8:30, where they'll await the winner of our next one, Australia and the upstart Philippines. We'll have that for you next. So long for now from the Canada Cup.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now, softballpremiertv.com.